Hello, it's grand final time, and I'm just going to give a rundown of all the countries in the final, see what kind of chance they've got and why they've got that draw, that kind of thing. So it's just a final preview. Let's get straight into it. We'll kick off with Norway, who are opening the show. I think it's a really good show opener, really good, lively, upbeat number. And although it's up there in the betting to finish last, I don't really see that happening. Because if you look at the streams it's had, it's been quite popular. It's top 100 in a number of countries, which, although I've seen the YouTube numbers are very weak, I still think it's going to get enough votes not to finish in the bottom. I think it'll get good Scandinavian votes. So, yeah, it's probably not going to be bottom. Somewhere around the 15 to 22nd range, probably, for Norway. Maybe just missing out on that top 15 spot. Next up, we've got Luxembourg. Drawn second for them. It's a very horrible draw for them. Second year returning for them, and I thought the EBU might be giving them the producer might have given them a bit more favourable draw, but it's difficult for it to do that well for the second spot. I think there is something to like for the juries here. We saw the show on Thursday in the second semi-final. Some really good staging, really clever. It was an easy qualifier, but I think for the televote, there might be some people that really like this song, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be the sort of song that will be remembered really from the second spot. So going to struggle a bit there. I can see it again finishing similar to Norway, somewhere 16 to 20 seconds, that kind of range. So then we're on to Estonia. Now it's obvious that this didn't win semi-final one on Tuesday because it wouldn't have been given the third slot. I'm not sure why it's been given such a bad slot, because I assume it must have. You kind of imagine it didn't do that well on the semi-final on Tuesday, but its streaming numbers and YouTube numbers since have been as good, if not better, than Sweden. So it's a bit of a puzzling draw for Estonia. And from this spot, I don't really know how high they can get. I mean, it's going to stand out no matter where it is because it's such a unique song, and it's going to get a lot of votes on a Saturday night. But I think this really does dilute their vote probably. And it probably takes them out of consideration to be the televote winner. And its probably position is now bottom half of the top 10 because the jury's going to give it really no points. He doesn't sing it well. It's not really a very good song. It's obviously a joke novelty entry, which juries don't really like giving many points to. So, yeah, Estonia, the draw really hasn't been favourable for them. So, move on to the fourth song, and that's going to be Israel. We saw it on Thursday, performed really well, great voice. Now, I've seen some chats that maybe they're not going to garner the same kind of votes they did last year, obviously the politically influenced votes. And I don't think that we have any evidence of that because last year there wasn't really any streaming or YouTube numbers to give any evidence they were going to receive such a huge vote. So they still could. It's going to be a mystery on Israel. It's all going to come down to how much points the juries actually give it. We don't really know. If the juries were being fair, then this is probably a top 6-5 entry for the juries. But I think the EBU absolutely don't want Israel to win because of the issues they would have for Israel hosting next year or what they would do with the contest. So I think the juries will definitely mark it down. And in that sense, it would probably get similar to what it got last year, around 100 points from the jury. Maybe some ones and twos to show that, yeah, we appreciate it, but we're not going to reward it. And if it gets a huge televote, then it's probably a top 5 again, maybe 5th or 6th. But if it doesn't, and the huge televote doesn't come, then this is going to finish way down at around 14, 15, I would have thought. But again, it's going to be a mystery. It's not going to win because the juries just won't allow it to. And we've known that since the start, really. That's why the odds have been so high for it. On to number 5, Lithuania. One of my personal favourites, really. I really like this. It's a very different song, very moody, and it's just really delivered really well. It's something so different for the contest. It's a shame they're drawn 5th because it would have done a lot better if it was sat in the middle of the draw. I'm not sure if how the juries will score this. I'm sure they'll get some points, purely because it's just an actually good produced song and it's well performed. And And the juries aren't afraid of giving points to like bands that do this sort of thing. So I think it will do okay. It's obviously obviously almost guaranteed neighbour points and diaspora points. So it starts the final really on 50 points, regardless of what the song is, basically. Within reason. So I think this is good enough to probably get somewhere in the 12 to 17 range. So I make it a decent bet for the top 15. I think it's going to be just about on the edge of probably 13th, 14th, something like that, is my prediction for Lithuania. I really like the song, and I hope it does well. Then we're on to Spain. Spain, it surprised me when I saw it live on the semi-final, because it's actually possibly a lot better than I thought it would be. It's still quite like a cabaret type act, which it's not the sort of thing that's going to do well at Eurovision. I've seen the odds have like had it all over the place. I still see it as a contender to finish last. Spain do not do well, and almost every year one of the big five has finished last, and Spain is certainly up there as a contender to finish last for me. I don't really see the juries giving it many points. There's just better songs for them to reward, and it doesn't really stand out at all. And televote wise, Spain, we've seen in the past, they don't really get many televote from anywhere unless it's deserved. And maybe some people vote for this, but is there going to be enough for it to give it many points? I don't know. For me, it's finishing the bottom five, and whether it finishes bottom or not, it's going to be quite close. I think this year there's obviously not going to be a 0 pointer. It's so hard to finish with 0 points now in this format. So I don't really see it finishing with 0, obviously. But I mean, there's a few songs that are in contention to finish last, and I think there'll be probably 5 songs that will get between 10 and 30 points, and it's very close between them who's going to finish last, and Spain are certainly up there. We've then got Ukraine. Again, I don't think the juries are going to enjoy this song that much. So how many points the juries give them? It's not going to be a lot, if that. The Ukraine televote, I said this in the semi-final video, that although it was obviously very strong when they won it, and it's gone down, but there's still a substantial vote that comes for them. The one time it didn't come was when the song wasn't really to a lot of the Ukrainians' liking, and it was weak when they co-hosted with the UK. And I think this song almost fits in the same theme of like, I don't see it as the type to garner that many like votes outside of like a hardcore Ukrainian vote. So it's wild where this can finish. If it gets a big Ukrainian vote, then it's obviously in the top 10, 5th, 6th sort of spot. But if it doesn't, and it can drop all the way down, even out of the top 15, it's probably going to be somewhere between 5 and 15, and just depends on how much vote it gets. On to the United Kingdom. So my country's song, and it's actually nice that we're actually sending somebody who can actually sing live this year, which is a change. Their voices and harmonies are absolutely brilliant, so I actually think the juries should give them not loads of points, but we're probably talking, 30 to 50 jury points I'd be hoping here, at a minimum. I don't really see much televote for it though. It's such a weird song, the way how it's structured. It's almost like a musical theatre song where loads of people keep joining in with bits of a song that doesn't really work together as a song. So as a song, I don't really see much televote for it, as per usual for the UK. I mean, the UK will get a good televote if they send a good song. It's just we haven't for so long. So I'm not going to sit here and say nobody votes for us. It's because we don't send good songs. But this is at least really well sung, and there's something there for the juries to reward it. So I'm hoping that that's how we get the points to not finish last. I don't think the UK will finish last. This song certainly isn't the worst in the competition, so it doesn't deserve to. But it's certainly going to be between 15th and last. I don't see it cracking the top 15 for the UK. The juries would really need to fall in love with it for that, and I just don't really see that happening. Then in ninth, we've got Austria, the second favourite, and it's an interesting slot for them. They're obviously after UK, it's going to stand out quite nicely. Now, I got to see the full performance on Thursday, which I really needed to see because it's obviously been a song that's been high in the odds to win since it was released, really. And it is, when you listen to it, it is quite a different sounding song. There's similarities to Switzerland last year, which has obviously been spoken about. But the falsetto he sings is incredibly difficult to sing. I understand it is incredibly difficult to sing. And I expect the juries to reward him for that. Now, is it a jury-winning song? I don't think so, because the juries shouldn't be giving... Well, it's not my job to tell the juries what they should be doing, but I don't think the juries will fall over themselves to give this all 12s just because it's hard to sing. It also needs to be a good song. There needs to be other things in there. And I think the structure of the song just is kind of like weird. It's not really there. And the last 30 seconds where there's not much singing and it's just the upbeat bit, that I thought would be the key to whether the song really does well or not. And I don't really see it when he's on the boat and the lighthouses. It's well staged, but I didn't get winning vibes from it. I didn't really get any emotion watching and listening to it. Normally when there's a really great song in the Eurovision, you watch it and sometimes you get goosebumps or like, you know, you get an emotion like watching and listening to it. I didn't really feel that with Austria, so yeah, I think it's probably going to finish in the top 5 somewhere. I think the jury will be quite strong. I don't see the public vote being that high. It's just not done well streaming, which isn't a massive indication, but its streaming numbers are really poor, and its YouTube numbers were poor on the run-up to the contest. With it being such a hype song, one of the fan favourites, the numbers to me weren't great. I know that like the exit polls from this have been good, but amongst 25 others, and it's drawn 9, I couldn't see the televote being like much more than 200. So like a 150, 200 televote is kind of its ceiling for me. And that would mean it would need to really like do what Switzerland did in the jury show last night. And we'll talk about France later. I just think France has probably won the jury show. So it's going to be difficult for Austria to now win. And for me, I'm probably going to think it might finish 3rd now, but I don't see it as winning. On to Iceland, and you know, this is it probably just qualified for the final. It's not going to do big numbers. It's really not going to get any jury points here, and it'll get some votes from like the kind of the kids and the youngsters that are watching, because it's obviously got, you know, it's a fun song and it's got that like kind of like the fish flying and stuff. It's quite fun to watch. So I think it's probably, and it's safe to say it's not going to finish last, but it's certainly probably going to finish amongst the others that I've mentioned to finish last in that bottom like 6 or 7 songs. So Iceland done well to get to the final. They've got quite a nice draw here because they've got Latvia following them, and Latvia again. I did call it to qualify, but you will get songs every year that just get completely lost in the final. And here, 11th, in between some really big songs. You know, it's not really a televote song, is it? You're not going to pick up your phone to vote for this song. And the juries tend to not really go for these kind of folky stuff, sang in their own language. It just, for me, it's got a chance of finishing last, but its friends and diaspora probably prevent it from finishing last, and it's in that mix for, you know, bottom 6 or 7 again. And then on to Netherlands. I was quite high on Netherlands to potentially win it. I've cooled off a bit now. It was a really good performance on Tuesday, but I feel it's probably 3rd in the juries, 4th or 5th in the televote. That's just not going to be enough to win. Some years, maybe if you finish 3rd on both in a weird year, it might be enough, but I don't think so this year. It doesn't really have enough power to do well in either. I was hoping it was probably going to do a bit more, but for me, it seems like a fairly safe-ish 5th overall, you know, in that sort of range, 4th, 5th, 6th. It will appeal to juries, but just for me, not enough. And the televoters, there's enough to like there, but just probably, again, not enough. He's a big star in a number of countries, so there will be a decent televote there, but probably not enough to really propel it into the top 2. Then on to Finland, and I absolutely love this performance from the semi-finals. It was even better than the national final. It's not really generally my kind of song, and you know that, but like you've got to admire the performance and the way she just controls almost like the cameras and the crowd. It's like you're at her concert. It was a really powerful performance, and you know the song is going to get quite a decent televote. You know, it's quite obvious. It's a really catchy, well sung, good song. But it's one of those songs where the juries are probably going to give it some points, but probably about 100. The televote, I would say, would probably be about 250. So 350 points there or thereabouts. That's going to fall somewhere within the I don't know, 4th to 7th range. I've mentioned a few countries in there. They could all finish in any order you like, really. It's hard to predict that, but it's not really in danger of winning it just because the juries just won't give it enough points to win. And it's probably not strong enough to win the overall televote. Did this win the semi-final too? It's difficult to say because Israel was always going to be given a terrible draw by the EBU anyway because they just really want to prevent them from winning. So they were always going to get a draw near the front, surrounded by countries that are decent. I mean, I don't really understand why the EBU did that because the vote's going to come in regardless for Israel if it's a politically charged vote, so it doesn't really matter where you put it. But Finland 13th obviously is like the sort of slot you would imagine a country won the semi-final. It's hard to gauge because Israel would have been the alternative in that semi-final. So, but yeah, I think maybe Finland probably did win that semi-final. So, but again, it's not going to win it. And then we're on to Italy. I think Italy is probably slightly underrated in the market. It's obviously got really no chance of winning. But I think like the juries will kind of enjoy this song, and I can see probably at least 100 points from the jury here. It's the kind of thing that they're going to reward with a decent amount of points. Televote wise, I mean Italy always carries some sort of televote. It's been a popular song in Italy, so I think it should really finish in the top 10. I don't really see how it's going to not get the 150 points to finish in the top 10. So I have backed this to finish in the top 10 earlier in the week. I thought it's still at a good price, really. I wouldn't say it's a definite because the song isn't great. It's just nice. So, but I just think it's hard to imagine Italy won't. You need about 150 points to finish in the top 10. And it's hard to imagine that Italy doesn't get 75 from each at least or something like that, which is all they'd need. So, but obviously the song that won Sanremo, Italy, the artist already had commitments to concerts at this time of the year and didn't want to cancel them for his fans. It's completely understandable, but then this song finished second at Sanremo, so it wasn't good enough to win that contest, and obviously it was probably never going to be good enough to win the Eurovision. So yeah, I think if it slips out the top 10, it's definitely in the top 15. So if you can find some value in betting it there, then that's for me is a standout looking bet for this final. Then we're on to Poland. I actually really enjoyed this performance. It's really grown on me since from the beginning of the rehearsals, really. When I've seen it, the performance. She gives absolutely everything in this performance. There's so much energy. And the staging is actually really good. Again, this is not really a song for the juries. It's more of a televote song, and it's had massive streaming numbers on YouTube. But what we don't know is that everybody in Poland because she's a huge star in Poland, or is it the people outside of the country as well? I imagine it's just the Polish people. So it's going to be how many Polish people from outside of Poland are going to be voting for this, because I don't think it's the kind of song that the neutrals will really be gravitating towards. Plus, there's also quite a fierce competition for televote points this year. So if the Polish diaspora come out for it, like they did in 2016 with Michael Stipp, and they got 220 points from nowhere, then this is an easy top 10 finish. And I did think it was really good value for it to finish top 10 earlier in the week. I do really enjoy the song and the performance. And following after it is Germany. Now, we saw this performance on Thursday night in the semi-finals. It was much improved from what I was expecting. The vocals seemed pretty secure. Her vocals have been kind of edgy in a lot of the pre-shows, and from what we've seen. So if she can nail the vocals on the jury night, which I haven't heard about, and tonight in the final, then this could finish, I don't know, anywhere. Like, it's got such a huge range. It could finish last because it's not a sort of song the juries tend to go for. And Germany don't have a great televote, and it's if it doesn't really work on the night, then there could be nobody voting for it. So it's got that range, but it could also finish in the top 10. Like, it's got such a huge range. For me, it's probably around 15, 16, 17. I don't think it's strong enough really to garner a big televote, and I don't really see the juries going for it. So just outside the top 15 for me, Germany, but I could easily be surprised and wrong here. Next up, we've got Greece. Now, this is a song made for the juries, really. It's a really powerful solo. She's got a great voice. She sings it really well. So I think like we're looking at probably a good, at least 100 points from the juries here, maybe more. And that might be enough for her. Those points, along with a bit of Greek vote, and there will be some people that like this. Obviously, it qualified from a semi-final that's televote only. So I think this is a pretty secure top 15 song. I don't think it will sneak into the top 10. I think it's going to finish 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, somewhere like that. And it's generally going to be largely based on its jury votes. But it should pick up just enough televotes to push it over. I did have a couple of speculative bets in it in the top 10, but there aren't many slots in the top 10 that are open because there's so many kind of big power songs. Let's face it, probably one of those is going to fail and drop way out. But so there's not many available slots for extra songs to fall into the top 10. So I don't like to fire too many bets off. But Greece, when I bet it again, it was like 6.5, I think the same as Poland. So when at those kind of odds, it's worth taking a chance. But the odds have come right in now, and they're probably in line with what chance it has, which is the case of most things at this time of the competition. Anyway, on to Armenia. Now, I did have this qualifying, so I was really happy when this got called really early. And as far as the final goes, I mean, I don't really see how it's going to get that much jury support, really. It's a really well-performed performance. It's a really well-performed song, and he does it really well. It might get a few jury points, but we're not talking anything massive here. And then Armenia tend to give it a reasonable televote, but it's just, I don't think it's going to be strong. I think it's kind of enough points not to be in the last place conversation, but nothing other than that. So again, we're looking at like 18th or 19th, 20th, 21st, somewhere in that kind of range. I do enjoy the song. I think he really performs it really well. I just don't think there's enough there for a Eurovision jury or a person at home to really reward it over many of the other songs. Next we've got Switzerland. We saw this in semi-final 1. It was kind of like on one shot, the camera, as they filmed it. It's still a song that I really fear won't really get many televote points. It's just a nice song and it's really well performed. There was talk about it maybe winning the jury. I don't think it's strong enough. It will get a good jury score, maybe like 150, 200 points in the jury, or between 100 and 175. That's probably better. So it could just slip out the top 10, but it's probably quite a solidish top 10 song, just purely based on how many jury points it's going to get. It's not going to get many televote. So after the jury show, if it hasn't got over 160 points, I would say, I'd be worried about it finishing the top 10. So just something to think about if when we're watching it. Like, it will need that kind of, because I don't think it's going to get many televote points at all. It could be one of those songs where when they get to it, they call 0 points. So, but really nice song, and it's good that the hosts don't just send something that like they don't want to win again. It's a really nice song, and the host should be rewarded with a decent score. On to Malta next, and I really did not enjoy that performance on Thursday. It was way too crude, and like, it's so busy. That background, all that colour and mess. I didn't enjoy it at all. How well it did in the semi-final, I'm not sure. I did have it as a potential surprise non-qualifier. But on watching it, I thought it probably does sneak in. But when it comes to the final, like the juries are going to give it no points. Really can't see this finishing in the top 10. Outside of like the controversial name of the song that it originally had, there's just nothing really there. Like when you stack this up against the other good televote songs of this semi-final, I don't really see how it's going to get enough points to finish in the top 10. For me, it's definitely not top 10. Probably not top 15 either. It's probably somewhere like 17th. Malta has always relied on really strong jury scores, and this just isn't a song that's going to get a jury score, in my opinion. It's just, for me, it's a family show. Anyway, enough of that. Let's move on to Portugal. And I did mention I don't know how this qualified for the final. I still don't. I listened back at it, and it's just... I mean, at least it's a bit of calm after Malta, which the audience might need after that show. So it's a moment of calm, but it's also a moment where you go make a drink or you go to the toilet. It's a real toilet break song. There's nothing going on in the song. It's just very flat. There's people that love this song, but every song that's entered this year and every year, there will be people online that love every song. So they don't love every song, I mean. Each song will have people that love it. It doesn't matter what song it is, there will always be that. So when you see people online saying, I love this, I'm so happy it qualified, there will be people that say that about every single song. Does it get any jury points? Maybe not. Does it get any televote? Probably not. This could easily finish last. I've bet it to finish last. Paddy Power at one point were offering 17.0. I don't know if that's still there. It's generally around 11, 12, I think, at the moment. I think that's worth a bet because I couldn't see this with very few jury points and no televote whatsoever. So it's really in the mix for last place for me. And who's next in the running order? We have Denmark. So Denmark, I was really happy that they qualified. I called that as a qualifier, and you could see the reaction from the artist. She had said all she wanted to do was be in the final. She didn't care if she finished last in the final. She just wanted to experience the final. And you could see the joy when she was selected. I know everybody's happy when they make the final. Austria was celebrating as if they thought they might not make the final. But, Denmark, you could see it was genuinely, wow, I'm surprised. Wow, I'm over the moon. Which was lovely to see. The song itself, it's a really good pop banger, really. It's just really nice. And it's got a little, it will have its audience. It's not going to get really any jury points because it's not good enough to really receive points from there. It might receive some Scandi jury points, a few here and there, but we're not talking anything like major at all. And then televote wise, again, I think it's probably in line to receive just enough to not finish last. So we're probably thinking it's going to finish 22nd, 23rd type area, because I think it will still get some Scandi votes. And like people on a Saturday night, people will enjoy it. It's near the end of the running order, and it's just a really kind of bangy dance tune. So yeah, I think it should do okay. I wouldn't be surprised if it finished last because it's going to be in the mix of that conversation, but it's not one that I think will. But I also wouldn't be surprised. Okay. Next up we have Sweden, who with this draw, it seems obvious they won semi-final one, which is no surprise really. They were very short odds to do so. And let's face it, since it's been almost released, this has been the favourite. It's had massive streaming numbers. It's been number one in countries I think it's been number one in Sweden for something like 12 weeks. Like most streams, not in the charts. I don't know, to be honest. I don't follow Swedish charts. But this has been a huge hit ever since it was released. And the only negative I'd say about it, because it's been such a huge hit, it's not going to be a new song for a lot of people. Which is a weird negative to have. So they might be more interested in something new rather than something they've heard and that's been their favourite for 10 weeks. But it ticks almost every box. Public vote, I think this, barring an Israeli thing we had last year, and even they didn't win the televote last year, I just think Sweden could easily finish with a huge televote. We're talking like 10s and 12s from every single country. Now, you might watch it and think, I don't get why this is the favourite to win it. I don't get it. So it's in Swedish, and most people won't understand what they're singing about. But we know they're singing about a sauna. it's just clever the way they're staging it, so you kind of know what they're singing about without us understanding what they're singing, and it's just so catchy. It's so well performed, and it's there's not really negatives in it other than it's a bit of a comedy joke song. That's the only negative you really can really think about it. I think this wins. It probably gets 350 plus televote points. It gets 200 jury points, and that's going to be way enough to win. Like 500 is what they really need to get to, but I think they blast past that and they get over 550. Sweden's your winner. And then next up we have France, who I think are probably the runners-up. Watching their performance on Thursday night, the first minute of it, I was not kind of taken that much. It was nicely staged. But her movements, and she wasn't really looking at the camera much. I mean, it's probably on purpose. She's not obviously not looking at the camera by mistake. But it just seemed a bit weird. I wasn't really connecting with it because she wasn't looking at the camera. She was moving around a bit, that didn't seem to make sense. And I was thinking, I don't fancy this at all off the first minute. But then the song really starts to get going, and she is connecting the camera. And you do feel, and I was getting winning vibes from the song towards the end. It was emotional, it was powerful. And when you're going to be watching it at home, you're going to be like, wow, yeah, okay. And it's so near the end of the running order, you're going to remember, and it's going to do better at the televote than we might have thought. I think it probably wins the jury vote. If not, it's very close. So we think it's going to be 242. Well, I say 240, 250. That's such a small margin. It's going to be well over 200 points, jury points, probably 250 or more. And I think the televote, it could easily get 200 because, I think from last night, I obviously didn't watch the jury show. I'm not there, but I've heard people talk about it, and it was like a real moment. So I think it will do. That's why I think it's got the potential jury winner. On Thursday, I thought, wow, that gives me winning vibes. I still think Sweden win. I don't think France can get to 550 with this song. I don't see them getting a 300 televote, but I can see them getting a 200 televote. So I think it's going to be close between Austria and Sweden. It's going to be close between Austria and France for second place. But I do think France might nick second place. But they are for sure a top four. So I think one of my strong bets for this final is France to finish in the top four. I'm not sure what the price is now. Last night I could get some at even money, and I think that's it's a definite top three for me. The only countries that can push it out of the top four are Netherlands, which I don't think Netherlands is going to beat France, and a massive televote song like Israel or Estonia. But even I just don't see them doing it. Could they win it? I mean, they could, but they would really need to smash the jury and then get a favourable televote. And do a Switzerland like last year? Potentially, and I don't think it'd be as an unpopular winner as Switzerland was last year. I say Switzerland was an unpopular winner last year because they weren't a fan favourite. They finished fourth in the televote, and France would do the same. But I think a lot of people would really love France to win because we know they would stage it well, and they're long overdue a winner, like the United Kingdom. But France are actually sending good songs and investing in it. She is a huge star in France that they invested in trying to win the competition. So nobody would begrudge a French win for sure because they're really trying to win it. They're trying and sending great artists with great songs. Whereas the UK is sending, I don't want to go into that. Okay, we've still got two more songs to talk about. Sorry about that. San Marino up next. I don't think it's a contender for last place because I think Italian people around Europe are going to vote for it. So it's going to get some televote. It's going to get no jury whatsoever. It's such a bouncy song where the DJ will get people's hands in the air and dancing, and it's a good high energy song. Coming straight after France, it's not a bad look for France because this obviously looks very different and not in a great way. So not last place. It will get some Italian televotes, but it's probably going to finish, I don't know, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. It depends how many televotes they get. Maybe if they get 60 points, where would that leave them? About 20th, probably? Yeah, about 20th. Albania are closing the show and they are last. Now, this was a lot of people's one of their favourite songs leading up to contest. I thought it was a really good song, especially in the national final with that orchestra, brilliant. But I didn't know how they were going to stage it to make it so kind of powerful. And I didn't, after rewatching the semi-final again a couple of times, the song is actually staged fairly well. Just don't think there's not enough song there for the juries to really go crazy for it. And I'm not sure where the juries are going to rank it at all. Like, it's obviously a really good piece of music that's well performed that should be rewarded. So, yeah, I could see about like 150 points maybe from the jury. That seems about right, I think. It'll get some good bulk of jury votes as well, so maybe I'm underselling the jury a bit. I don't know. It's not for everybody, that's for sure. The televote is where it might struggle a bit. It's going to get the Balkan vote. There's going to be a lot of people voting for it in that region, I would imagine. And, it is good, but its streaming numbers and YouTube numbers have never been good, even though it's been a fan favourite from... So I don't see if it's going to get a huge televote. Therefore, I finished about 8th, I think. 8th or 9th. And if the juries don't really go for it, it could slip out of the top 10. For me, it was a bit of a borderline top 10, and the odds have like cratered in crazily. I'm not sure it's such a secure top 10 really, but I wouldn't really be betting against it. It feels like it's going to finish about 8th for me. So that's the final preview over with. Takeaways really, I think Sweden win it. I think France probably finish 2nd or 3rd at worst. So a top 4 bet seems like a brilliant bet at even money if that's still available. I'm not in front of my computer to check the odds. Lithuania, I think, a really good top 15 bet. Let me see the other countries. Did I think anything else? Oh, last place. Portugal and Spain. I've had a couple of shekels on them at around 10 to 1. The UK obviously is favourite to finish last. I think and I hope they don't. I think and hope there's going to be enough jury points to keep them out of the bottom. But if they do finish bottom, I feel the BBC really need to get a new team to like look at finding the Eurovision entry for the UK, because it's so many years now where it's just been failure after failure. Now you can point to Sam Ryder, but I think he was a complete fluke. They discovered him on TikTok and they said, yeah, let's get this guy in, and he smashed it. Now, unless you start doing that and just keep getting TikTok stars, which they haven't done since, by the way, then I don't really see that working. And like Sam is obviously quite unique. There's not loads of Sam Ryders around. He's gone on to have a great career in the music industry because he's such a good singer and entertainer. So for you to stumble on an unknown person that's then going on to have a great career, you can't really think that's going to happen again. Now these girls this year, love them. They've put everything into this. And like every year with the UK's entries, you can see the artists really buy into it and they put everything into it. I don't want to knock any of the artists individually. I'm sure they tried their hardest, but last year the staging was like a porn show set. It was horrible. This is a family show that should not be what we're looking to do. So which I feel a bit for Ollie, because the song wasn't too bad, but again he wasn't great live with his vocals. One thing the BBC's got to do is like get somebody that can sing live really well. Like I saw Mae Muller say that like her song had featured auto-tune, and there's no auto-tune allowed at the Eurovision, so why the hell would you pick that song and let her sing that if it's obviously going to flop? Maybe the UK want to flop every year and we don't want to host it. I don't know. I don't understand why a country I wouldn't say this big, which is not a huge country, but it is a huge country in terms of the music industry. Like the music industry in the UK is massive. We've got so many talented songwriters and artists. How a country like the UK cannot have a song that's won it since like the 1990s, and when most people that are probably watching this video weren't born when they last won the Eurovision. So, and the only act that's even like come close to winning, like I say, was Sam Ryder, who just like looked in, and yeah. Anyway, that's my rant over. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.